All right, let's do this one last time.
A hero's just someone who doesn't give up. Your dad said that. He was right. Now it's your turn. Go be a hero, Miles.
Okay, let's do this.
Feeling just don't stop doing that. Try to hate on us. Ain't worried about things since I'm strong enough. The feeling just don't stop doing that. Baby, yeah, we know.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This is going to be my new Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2 video. They just dropped a new teaser and a big announcement about what's going on with the movie. There's also that Spider-Man PS5 clip that Sony literally just dropped while I was making this Spider-Verse video. So obviously there's a big Miles Morales game coming out later this year based on the Miles Morales from the first Spider-Man PS4 game. But this footage of him is captured from the PS5 version of the game, if that wasn't clear. So we'll break it down. There's a whole bunch of Easter eggs. So if you're new to my channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. We'll do a new Amazon giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave all your predictions for Spider-Verse 2 on the video. So we'll talk about what's going on, then I'll talk about all the different versions of Spider-Man that are featured during that teaser, because that's meant to show you the different logos of different characters that'll be showing up during the sequel. Starting with number 5, so if you didn't see the news this past week, one of the animators on Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2, Nick Kondo, tweeted out that they had started production on the movie this week. For those of you that saw the teaser trailer earlier last year and assumed that they had already been working on the movie this whole time, that is also true. What happened last year is that Lord & Miller and the official Spider-Man Spider-Verse account at Sony released a teaser to say, yes, the movie's happening, it's going to be coming 2022. That was just Sony saying that they had started paying people to actually start writing and developing the sequel. So this past week when this guy said that they're starting the movie, he's an animator. He means that they started to animate the movie this past week. So all the stuff up to now has just been pre-production and then working on the story and the script. Number 4, all that Spider-Man PS5 footage with the Miles Morales game. So I know a lot of people saw this and they're like, wow, does that mean that they're going to kill off the Peter Parker Spider-Man in this version of the game? No, it doesn't mean that he's going to die. It just means that right now they're doing a Miles Morales game set mostly around him that'll probably involve some Peter Parker stuff because there's still all the Venom stuff that they set up in the Spider-Man PS4 post-credit scene and all the ongoing story with Peter Parker. It's more likely that what'll happen with Peter Parker during the Miles Morales game is that he'll either be sidelined or he'll be off working on some other problem, or the plot of the direct sequel to this game will just be happening concurrently in different parts of the city with the Miles Morales game. So think of the Miles Morales game as more of a spin-off franchise that could spawn its own sequels, not just a direct sequel to Spider-Man PS4. But just in terms of where the story picks up, if you haven't played any of the expansions from Spider-Man PS4, in the post-credit scene of the Silver Linings expansion, you see Peter Parker showing Miles Morales how to web swing just like you saw during the Spider-Verse movie.
I think the web shooters are a little tight.
Get used to it. Just try to keep up.
Obviously, making the suit is a very big deal, just like it was during Spider-Man PS4, so we'll probably get some sort of pre-credit sequence where we see Miles making his Spider-Man suit. It looks badass, I can't wait to play it. I'll do a couple more videos when they drop more trailers for it, and I will do giveaways for the game when they do release it later this year. But number 3, some of the biggest story changes for Spider-Verse 2 have a lot to do with how the characters have changed at the end of the first movie. So Miles Morales is a really good example of that. Early on in the first movie, they animate the character on what they call twos, meaning that they only animate Miles at 12 frames a second to make him seem like he's out of sync with the rest of the universe and all the other characters, instead of animating him at a full 24 frames a second. That was a stylistic choice in service of character development to show you how he just wasn't fully Spider-Man yet. He was still trying to figure everything out. Then later in the movie, before the big final battle, he gains all that confidence, he knows what he wants to do, and they suddenly start animating him at a full 24 frames a second, so that's why during the big final fight, all of his movements seem way smoother, like the movement of the original, perfect, quote-unquote, version of Peter Parker, played by Chris Pine at the beginning of the movie. So at the start of Spider-Verse 2, Miles is already comfortable in his abilities, and they'll be animating him at a full 24 frames a second to make his movements look much smoother, much more like classic Spider-Man, like I am the Spider-Man of this Earth now. The other obvious big story change at the end of the movie is the introduction of the Parker Industries style webwear wrist devices that they're all wearing. So those are based on the wrist devices from the Spider-Verse comics that allow the different versions of Spider-Man to travel the web of life and destiny. So it's a little different than, say, like the Avengers in Avengers Endgame and in the Doctor Strange movie, learning about the multiverse and traveling through multiple dimensions, time traveling through the quantum realm. But it amounts to the same result. It's just another way to travel the multiverse that only spider people use. When you see them flying through the spaces between dimensions, like you see this Kirby crackle as Spider-Gwen gets sucked into the multiverse, you can actually see the spiderweb strands in the background in this cosmic space. Like a literal web of life and destiny, the connective tissue between dimensions connecting everything. Number 2, Spider-Man 2099. Also, at the end of the first movie, it's implied that enough time has passed since the final boss fight that Spider-Man 2099, Miguel O'Hara, played by Oscar Isaac wonderfully, has given at least Miles and Spider-Gwen the webwear wrist devices to allow them to open smaller portals between their dimensions. Logically, that's the only way she'd be able to open up this portal to peep on Miles at the end just to say hi while he's listening to music. The one that he used in the post-credit scene to recreate that funny Spider-Man 67 meme was just his prototype for the first version. The number one, of course, what are the other major versions of Spider-Man that they're teasing based on that intro that I added to this? So obviously Miles, Spider-Gwen, Spider-Man 2099, Penny Parker, Spider-Ham, Jake Johnson's Spider-Man, and Spider-Man Noir are all coming back in some fashion. I don't know how big those returning characters will be during the sequel because they're introducing other newer versions. But one of the earliest ones that Lord and Miller officially confirmed is the Japanese Spider-Man from the Toei 1978 Spider-Man TV series. He has a really cool mech that I'm assuming we'll see at some point during the movie. There's a logo implying that Ben Reilly's Spider-Man is going to show up. There's Cindy Moon's logo. Notice the moon above the logo here. There's the 1967 original Spider-Man from the cartoon series, the same one from that post-credit scene meme. There's a logo that looks kind of like Hobie Brown's Spider-Punk logo. There's one that kind of seems like Cosmic Spider-Man's logo, or Captain Universe Spider-Man, whatever you want to call him. There's a logo that seems like it's implying the Bombastic Bagman version of Spider-Man is going to show up. He's the version from the Fantastic Four Spider-Man crossover, where he didn't have his costume. There's a logo that kind of seems like it belongs to Ghost Spider, and then there's a logo that seems like it's from Spider-Man from the 1990s animated TV series. Lord and Miller and the director of the movie also said that Sony shot them down when they asked if they could bring back Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, and Andrew Garfield as their versions of Spider-Man in the first movie. There was supposed to be a big cameo scene with the live-action versions coming back. The Sony executives said that they felt like it was too soon to bring all those new live-action versions together on screen. So maybe because 4 years will have gone by the time we get the sequel, they will feel like enough time has passed that it'll be cool. But let me know in the comments, which other versions of Spider-Man do you want to see them include in some way in Spider-Verse 2? But just a big reminder, the movie is coming out October 7th, 2022, so we'll probably get another really big trailer sometime by next year. But if they drop any more teasers or hints about other new versions of Spider-Man or what's going on with the story, of course I'll do a video about it. Everyone click here for my video on all the special deleted scenes from the first Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie, including those cameo scenes with Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield, and Tobey Maguire. And click here for my breakdown of that new Marvel Eternals first look teaser. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe. I'll see you guys tonight.